Hi, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins here with your Tuesday edition of FSU weather. We're keeping things fairly dry right now across the Big Bend region here in Tallahassee and along the I-10 corridor. It's staying fairly dry, but along the coastline is where we're seeing the showers and storms starting to build up, especially around the Panama City area. These are due to the sea breeze colliding with the northerly winds that we currently have coming out of the north. Tonight's forecast will stay mostly clear because we do have a nice stable air right ahead of us, 74 degrees. We'll keep the westerly southwest wind around 3 miles per hour throughout tonight. Your 3-day forecast is showing not a lot of rain in the forecast. We have a 20% chance of rain for Wednesday. We're actually keeping temperatures fairly high, though, because of the fact that we won't have a lot of rainfall. 95 degrees for Wednesday and 93 degrees for Thursday and Friday. Your 3-part headline for tonight's show: dry and hot conditions persist throughout the week, as well as heat index values nearing around 100 degrees. But by the weekend is when the typical southern pattern returns. And I'm actually going to pass things off with Colby for a look at exactly when that pattern returns.
Looking locally here, 94 degrees here in Tallahassee, a little bit cooler down on the coast there at Apalachicola, sitting at 87. Those dew point values, now the dew point temperature is the temperature at which dew does form. So we see 67 here in Tallahassee, much drier air though coming in courtesy of that drier air mass back behind the area there to the north. 63 there in Thomasville, 61 over in Bainbridge. Onshore flow providing a dew point value of 78 there in Apalachicola. Look at those heat index values. That's when we start to look at the effects of that dew point temperature, how close it is to the actual air temperature. And this is low 90s, 95 there though in Bainbridge, but that's definitely a lot lower than what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing a lot of triple-digit heat on this map, and only triple-digit heat spot we're seeing there is 100 down in Apalachicola, and that's because we saw that very high dew point in the previous graphic. Now, what we are not seeing is any rain very locally. We've used to seeing that summer sea breeze bringing us showers and storms right through Tallahassee, but we have to go all the way down to Panama City and into Bay County to look for any sort of convection there bubbling up from that sea breeze that we've seen to our south. Showers persisting into Alabama and even Mississippi, and then our major player is Hurricane Chris. We'll talk about Hurricane Chris a little bit later into the show. Wind speed and direction, you can see right where that boundary's at. Very strong onshore flow from that sea breeze, but we do have that drier air coming in from the north there. We do have the winds that are starting to very variable here in Tallahassee, so it's right where these winds are meeting that we're starting to see that bubbling up convection down toward Apalachicola. That was that onshore flow there into East Point, Apalachicola. Now, if you're playing in your evening, it's going to be rather nice. No chance of showers or storms here locally. Great stargazing night. If you got to go out and go for a run, walk the dog, it'll be a great night for that. And then into planning for your tomorrow, 95 degrees, slight chance of thunderstorms, winds out of south-southeast at 5 miles per hour. Playing that day a rather balmy 75 degrees at 7 a.m. By lunchtime, we're almost up to 90 degrees, and then chance of a shower or thunderstorm by 3 p.m. there, 93 we're looking there, and then into that 7 to 95 tomorrow. Thursday 93, and those low 90s persist into the weekend. Those rain chances start to get a little bit higher. We'll see those lows though in the lower to mid 70s. We'll get those rain chances that start creeping back in by the time we get into Monday and Tuesday. And now I'm going to hand things over to Michael. We're going to take a look at the south and east.
Yeah, thanks, Kobe. Let's take a look at the southeast. Let's start off with the Key West time lapse from one of our FSU, one of our weather stem cams. You can see the clouds filtering in from the east, coming out of the Caribbean and the Atlantic, and you're getting some showers and thunderstorm activity nearby. Now, across the southeast, it's a tale of two southeast. On the western side of the southeast, you're getting a lot of thunderstorm activity. That's because the winds are coming off the Gulf, giving some moisture and humidity to work with to fuel those showers and thunderstorms. But on the eastern side of the southeast, you're getting a northerly flow with the overall circulation of Chris. That counterclockwise flow is allowing winds to come from the north, bring in some drier air. So that's why it's much hotter across the eastern section of the southeast, because you're getting more sunshine compared to the western sections. So 94 in Montgomery and 94 here in Tallahassee. Another reason you can see drier air across the Alabama, Georgia, Carolina, and northern Florida regions. Because of that dry air, the dew points are slightly lower in the 60s, but then on the western side of the southeast, the flow coming from the Gulf is giving those higher dew points, so in the low 70s and mid 70s as your dew points. And this all relates into the heat index. Combining the temperature and the dew points, you're having more reasonable heat indexes on the eastern side of the southeast because the dew points are slightly lower, and it's honestly a treat for this time of year to get dew points in the 60s. But on the western side, you saw those dew points are in the 70s, so your heat indexes are in the triple digits, so it feels a little bit more uncomfortable outside. Now, again, with the flow coming from the Gulf on the western side of the southeast, you're getting more shower and thunderstorm activity. Look at the fine line from showers and thunderstorms to absolutely nothing in Georgia and Carolinas and northern Florida. That's because of that drier air, again from Chris, filtering in from the north, suppressing the shower activity, and that's going to continue for the next 2 to 3 days until we start to return the flow from the Gulf of Mexico. Now down towards southern Florida, you're getting more shower activity from the sea breeze. You saw down towards Key West, a lot of those clouds are from the shower activity near Fort Myers that is now dissipating as we speak. You can see the winds. Notice the northerly flow in the eastern sections of the southeast, southerly flow in the western sections of the southeast. And then the future radar will continue that pattern for the next few days. And as we go into tomorrow's forecast, again, we continue that pattern with hotter conditions in the eastern sections, cooler in the western sections. Let's send off to Jennifer with the nation's forecast.
Yeah, as we take a look at temperatures across the nation, we're actually seeing fairly warm conditions across most of the southeast, like we were saying before. Temperature-wise, though, it's staying fairly hot in 97 degrees for Denver, as well as 97 degrees for Billings, Montana. Fairly dry and nice, comfortable temperatures. 76 for San Francisco, as well as 79 degrees in Los Angeles. We're also seeing some higher, warmer temperatures, 94 degrees for Washington, D.C. Dew points, though, the temperature at which dew forms is fairly high across most areas of the southeast. So there's a reason why we're seeing a lot of rainfall across these areas, as well as 60s for areas like Minneapolis. However, higher dew points along the southwest, so that's something that we don't normally see this time of the year. Wind speeds are coming out from the south along areas like Texas. We're also seeing some of the counterclockwise flow from Chris as well, providing a lot more wind speeds in those areas. However, overall, we're keeping things fairly calm and reasonable across most of the southeast, only 5 miles per hour from here in Tallahassee. The radar is indicating that we have some fronts across most areas of the nation. We even have a stationary front that's keeping Chris off towards the Atlantic, so that won't be a threat for us anytime soon. Most areas of the southeast are staying fairly moist for right now. We actually, Tallahassee and even into Georgia are actually staying fairly dry. However, areas like Louisiana and even into Arkansas, they're seeing the rainfall for today. We even have a cold front associated with a warm front, which is allowing for some severe thunderstorm activity to occur in most areas of Montana. They even had a slight risk of severe weather yesterday due to the convective outlook. Severe watches and warnings, we actually have a severe thunderstorm watch for areas of Billings, Montana, as well as other areas of northern Montana. So this is something to look into for tonight. We could even see some warnings associated with this as well. We even have some heat advisories heading into tomorrow night. It's heading into tomorrow and into tomorrow night for areas like Minnesota, even South Dakota, and into places like Missouri as well. So that's because temperatures are going to be fairly high for these areas. We actually will have higher dew points as well. So it's going to feel very, very hot for most of these areas. We have a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow for areas of Minnesota, but we even have some just regular thunderstorm activity for areas of the southwest and even southeast heading into tomorrow. Tonight's forecast is going to be a warm one for some areas of the southeast. We'll keep temperatures around 72 degrees here in Tallahassee, as well as 74 degrees in Atlanta. Nice and cool night, 64 degrees for Boston. We'll even keep some cooler temperatures in the west as well, 59 degrees for Seattle, as well as 62 degrees for San Francisco, and 69 degrees for Los Angeles. Tomorrow's forecast along the west is going to stay fairly warm, 78 degrees for San Francisco, as well as 81 degrees for Los Angeles. Towards the east, though, we're keeping the higher temperatures as well. We'll keep 92 degrees for Atlanta and 95 degrees for Tallahassee. But here in Tallahassee, we'll actually have some clear air for tomorrow. I'm going to pass things off to Colby at a look at Hurricane Chris.
Now let's take a look at Hurricane Chris. That's what we're tracking right now. That's the big story for today. Hurricane Chris, officially a hurricane as of 5 o'clock. We have winds of 85 miles per hour. Now look at the convection bubbling up. Very strong indicator of the thunderstorms there. Look at those dark reds there right along that eye wall. So a lot of maturing that's happened over the last 24 hours with Chris as it's starting to make that trek off to the north and east. Officially a Category 1 hurricane right now, sitting well offshore there of the Carolinas. Right there, you see that eye wall, and then it's going to start making that trek to the north and east. Pressure has dropped down to 980 millibars. Had some nice warm temperatures, and it's going to continue to feed on those as it continues its track off to the north and east. Hurricane Hunter aircraft did come through the storm earlier, had some very important observations, but now you see them making their way safely back toward the Carolinas there. Those spaghetti plots, look at the consistency with these models. We really don't see that often. And as it continues to the north and east toward the Newfoundland coast there in Canada, St. John's could skirt by there, but staying well offshore from the New England states there. Like I said, those 85-mile-per-hour winds, we'll see those. They will continue off to the north and east and safely away, some 200 to 250 miles offshore there, so no possibility of tropical storm force winds or even hurricane force winds that we will see with this system. No impacts there along the coast. Those wave heights, though, right along, we had some 15 to 20 foot wave heights indicated with the yellows and greens there, but as we start to look more coastal, we're dealing with some 2 to 3 foot waves along the coast there of the eastern seaboard, mid-Atlantic states, and that has actually went into some sort of small craft advisories that we'll have to watch there for the Outer Banks of North Carolina and then up toward Cape Cod, as we could expect if you're in some smaller boats there. You could have to watch that. And this will continue to make its way off to the north and east, away from land, as I was saying, well, away from the United States. We're not going to worry about that, but what's our friends up in Canada, we'll have to watch for that as it will skirt by Newfoundland there, possibly into St. John's. We'll have to watch that over the next couple of days as we're tracking Hurricane Chris there. Now we're going to hand things off to Michael. We're going to bring things back locally for our show. What do you have for us, Michael?
Yeah, thanks, Kobe. We can thank Chris for giving us some drier air here in Tallahassee. You can see our time. Let's actually reset our graphics here, but we were showing you our FSU weather stem time lapse. You can see how we had scattered clouds throughout our region, and that's what was causing us to heat up rather quickly into the afternoon and now into the evening hours. See some clouds, again, due to the daytime heating. That's pretty typical for July, but no rain coming out of those clouds. Now the clouds are dissipating as we're losing some of that daytime heating throughout the day. Now currently we are at 94 degrees, mostly cloudy skies at the airport right now, but the reason why it's much drier, the winds are coming out of the north and the northwest at 6 miles per hour. Temperatures pretty warm across a lot of the Big Bend region today. 94 here in Tallahassee, a rain-cooled 87 down towards Apalachicola, 91 in Thomasville, and 92 in Valdosta. Just remember those temperatures for just a second when we go into our heat indexes. Dew points, again, you can see the lower dew points across Georgia and into the eastern sections of our viewing region. 64 in Perry, 63 in both Thomasville and Valdosta. Now combine the air temperature with the dew points, you get these pretty comfortable heat indexes for July, honestly. It's very close to the air temperatures. Again, this is honestly a treat for what you expect in July. Now down towards the coast, the flow is coming off the Gulf, and that is giving us some more moisture and as a result higher heat indexes. So 100 is your heat index in Apalachicola. Now, with the more moisture down towards the coast, as well as the typical sea breeze we see every afternoon, you're getting the showers and thunderstorms down towards Apalachicola, Port St. Joe, and then Panama City. There was a storm earlier that was severe warned. Now that is, you can see, dissipated off the coastline right there. Tonight's forecast, it's going to be 71 here in Tallahassee, and with the air being slightly drier, we might see some upper 60s in our Georgia towns tonight. So honestly, that again is a treat for July, so just take advantage of it, honestly. And then tomorrow, with the drier air, we will heat up very quickly. 96 in Thomasville, 97 in Bainbridge, 95 in Tallahassee. I wouldn't be surprised if some of our cities in our viewing area could get into the upper 90s, maybe get close to 100 degrees. It's possible if we get more sunshine. But for the next few hours going into tomorrow, we are expecting the rain to dissipate and a typical pattern for the next few days. Now the 7-day forecast, drier in the short term, wetter in, we return to our normal summertime pattern next week into the work week. And then finally, let's show us our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we stream every night on YouTube. So don't forget to tune in back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Have a great night.